הוא פסוק ה' פרק כ"א. מחשבות חרוץ אך למותר. The thoughts of somebody that's חרוץ, somebody that's diligent and zealous, אך למותר only brings excess, gains. וכל אץ, and whoever is hasty, אך למחסור only loses. Atz is somebody that does things very fast. So says the Gaon like this. The charutz, the person that is diligent and proactive, his machshavot, his thoughts, yes, are built to get to a tachlit, to get to a purpose. Now be careful. We've learned not too long ago in Perek Kaf that if you only think about the end and you don't focus on the step by step, you end up losing. You remember that? Here, Shlomo HaMelech, it seems like he's saying exactly the opposite. He says the charuz, the diligent, has his mind focused on the purpose. So it doesn't mean that all he thinks is when I want to finish, I want to get to the end. It's just that his path is built in a way, his mahshava is built in a way where he has an end goal. You cannot just have an open agenda. You have to know what you want. You need to know what you want to accomplish. And when you know what you want to accomplish and you're diligent about it, the work that you will do will create excess of success, excess of beracha. And you're never going to be missing out. And the opposite, what do you have? Motar, excess, and says the Gaon, and revach, and benefits, right? So if we combine what you've learned before and now, you have to be diligent and focus on learning, on doing step by step. Yes, like zoom in, zoom out. Zoom in on the step by step, but zoom out with the end goal. Yes, and see how your step by step effort align with your goal. Says Shlomo HaMelech, if you're diligent doing that, you will always see benefit and success and positive outcome in your efforts. However, v'chol atz is somebody that just thinks quickly, reactional, without thinking. And it's like a hit and run type of thing, yes? He doesn't see a purpose, he doesn't have a tachlit. So anything that he will do will be incomplete because he doesn't have a full picture, he doesn't have the proper mindset, the right assessment. So for him, it's, he just does it as it comes. So because his actions are incomplete, therefore he has holes in his process, those holes will lead to failure. למחסור. Says the Gaon, this applies כמובן in life in general, and so too in Torah. Somebody that has a tachlit, meaning he wants to get somewhere. Yes, he wants to know his Torah. Or there's this beautiful introduction of the Or HaChaim HaKadosh al Torah. FYI, Baruch Hashem, I cannot say we finished, but we've completed the cycle of limud of the Malbim. Okay? And we started now from the Akdama, Bli Neder, slowly, the Or HaChaim HaKadosh. So we just finished today the Akdama of the Or HaChaim HaKadosh. The Or HaChaim HaKadosh speaks so beautifully about his responsibility and his engagement to the emet of the Torah, and what he had to do in order to protect himself from failing in his hidushim of the Torah Kedosha. So when you have a tachlit, when you have a purpose, and the purpose of the Or HaChaim HaKadosh was to please Hashem with the hidushim that he has. That's what he wanted. So when you want to please Hashem with the chidushim that Hakadosh Baruch Hu has given you, by bringing them to life, you cannot say lies. Yes, not gonna learn a chidush quickly, and he feels good, or he sounds good, or some guy like this, so suddenly become it becomes the revelation of the invention of the wheel. Piano. He says from all his amal at Torah, and all his iyunim. He took out gargerim, a few grains, a few nuggets. That's what came out. Like these are the nuggets, the few nuggets that he was able to gather from his limud. That's Or HaChaim HaKadosh. FYI, he witnesses that he only dedicated 4 to 5 hours a week
to what?
To the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, to writing the Or HaChaim HaKadosh.
To write or to study?
To focus, to learn and write the Or HaChaim HaKadosh. He was only able to dedicate 4 to 5 hours a week. He was so busy because of all the tzarot that he had. Like he was prosecuted. Anyways, he was in a. But look what he took out. Look what he took out. So when you're dedicated, when you have a tachlit, you have a purpose. You want, for example, somebody wants to know a masechta. He wants to know Shulchan Aruch. He wants to know Hilchot Lashon Hara. He wants to know them. So he doesn't want to finish. He wants to know. And he puts the right effort. And he's diligent about it. He will know the Torah. And not only that he will know what he wanted, but what he wanted to know will lead him to know even more. And it will open his mind to be able to be mehadash more hidushim. And that's the motar, that's the excess, that's the benefit of the diligence, okay, of having a tachlit belimud Torah. However, if somebody learns the Torah quickly, and he wants just to amass a lot of information, yes, so that he has as much as he can, as fast as he can, he has nothing. Everything that he gathered, he's going to end up losing it. I want to give you the just incredible of it. In the shiur last night on Maaseh Bereshit, we're in the middle of the Chet of Adam Harishon, and now we started the curse that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave to Adam, Chava, and the Nahash. And the Ramban says something davar anak. He says that in all the midrashei Chazal, in all the chidushim of Chachamim, you have a lot of secrets of nature, of the creation, that are hidden there, and that require the proper analysis, the proper toiling, in order to get to those chidushim. And he brings a midrash of how Rabbi Yoshua was able to find in the Torah that the Nachash, that the snake gives birth every 7 years, and it's because the curse of the Nachash is 7 times worse than the Behemah, which is okay. And yes, and Rabban Gamliel didn't know the answer, and he was sad. He's like, "How look this guy? In a minute, he gave me something. It took me 7 years, and I couldn't get it." The Ramban says that how important it is to approach and address the Torah with the right mindset, with the right responsibility, seriousness. Yes, with understanding that when you learn Torah, you have to learn it with the proper time, the mind, the right mindset. That's why the Or HaKadosh says he didn't have time to focus on this level of emet and ayun in the Or HaKadosh because of all the tzarot that he was in. So he was able to steal 4 or 5 hours a week, okay, to focus and dive into this hidushim. The Zohar Kadosh explains that when a person, right, when the person reveals a hidush, now it doesn't have to be a hidush to the world. A hidush to him, that is a hidush to him, right? He unveils now another part of the face of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that now that the face of Hashem can shine of his light upon that person and make that person now more knowledgeable, more connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, okay? And that's what we say in Sim Shalom. ברכנו באור פניך, כי באור פניך נתת לנו תורה וחיים, אהבה וחסד. We ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to shine from the light of his face upon us. Because from the light of his face came all the brachot that we were blessed. Says the Zohar Kadosh, and that's just the Mekor of the the Zohar, because I read it 1 second. Just to give the Mekor. In Zohar Chadash, just if you want Chelek Bet, in Shir HaShirim, Daf Yud Chet, Amud Aleph, if you want to look it up. Okay? That basically when you're Megale Razin, when you Megale the secret of the Torah, yes, the light of the face of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Me'or Panim shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu shines upon the person. This is the Beracha. This is the koach that a person gets when he approaches the Torah diligently. Okay? But if you don't have that, so you didn't reveal anything, that's nothing sticks. That's the atz. Good? Pasuk Vav. Po'al otzarot bilshon shaker. Whoever gathers otzarot, wealth, yes, like treasures through lies, by a lying tongue. Hevel nidaf is considered like hevel. Yes, it's a vapor. Hevel, it evaporates. Mevakshe mavet. They're considered like asking for death. They're calling for death. Says the Gaon like this. When a person, through his lies, okay, what does it mean through his lies? That he's corrupt, and therefore he's going to give psakim, he's going to give halachot that are lies, that are not true. Right? Because he's corrupt. It seems like in the beginning he amasses treasures because it's working for him. He lies to benefit someone that comes to Bedin, and the guy pays him shochad. Yes, so he's growing financially. He's building a momentum through his lies. In reality, says Shlomo HaMelech, whatever he's building from these lies, they evaporate. They're gonna disappear like this, and nothing. He will be left with nothing, not with nothing. He will lose everything to the point that he's gonna be part of the people that just call upon death. They just want to die. They don't want to stay alive. That's how terrible lo alenu velo alechem the position of this person is. Yes, all this because of what? Because of his sheker. Rabbi David Elaluf Izacher Letov Shlita. He says that applies to anybody that amasses otzaot money out of sheker or ramaut. If he's a ramai or if he's a shakrani. Yes, these two uh, uh, approaches or tools that are used to make money, yes, lead to total destruction of the wealth that the person or that has built, and lo alenu, to a place where the person is so depressed and so broken and so destroyed that he cannot see a way back. So all he wants is to leave this world.
Rabbi, it's a very big generalization in the business world. What would you consider that to be?
I think that what Shlomo HaMelech is saying and what the Gaon is saying is like this. You have you cannot sheker is what? The sheker adin is מי שחייב אתה אומר שהוא פטור. מי שפטור אתה אומר שהוא חייב. Yes? That's what the Gaon is referring to. Meaning is when you tell somebody that is fake when it's real, and that it's real and when it's fake. In your business. Yes? You buy a piece of jewelry, you know it's fake, but you sell it for real. Okay? Or you meramed the person, you convince the person to go and invest in a deal that you know he's gonna lose, or to go and buy merchandise that you know that is not good. Okay. Kal vachomer, if it's a blunt lie, if the person sells you something that doesn't even exist. Okay? That's pashut. That this is it. So says Shlomo HaMelech, a person like this, it's a question of time before everything. Forget about what he stole. Okay, forget about what he stole. Everything he has will evaporate. Meaning everything, even what he earned the right way, will end up evaporating. Lo yisha'er beyado me'uma, says the Gra. Nothing will be left in his hands. Again, to the point that the person sees no exit, no way out, but mevakshim mita, asking to die. Good? That's the influence of Sheker and Ramaut. Pasuk Zayin. שוד רשעים יגורם. Shoded is the one that comes and steals, yes? That forcefully takes from so the I guess the violence, yeah, of the Reshaim. Yegorem is Yagur, can pushes them in a direction. Ki me'anu la'asot mishpat, because they refuse to do justice, to be just, to be honest. That's the continuation of Pasuk Vav. Says like this, the Gaon says, because of the shekarim, because of the lies that were that of the posek, the position the person took of his lies. Now it influences others to also steal and misbehave, because they know they can get away with it. They can bribe and get and it works. A person steals, people know that he steals. Like, hey, look, this guy's making a lot of money. I'll do the same. It works. So his behavior influences others to behave the same way. Why? Because at the end, there's no shofet, there's no morality, there's no conscience that stops the person. Yes, the person that did that didn't have a conscience. He didn't have a shofet. He didn't have a judge internally that stops him and says, "Listen, you need to behave." He misbehaved. Others people see that it's paying off. They also misbehave. Says the Gaon. At the end, the person that influenced others directly or indirectly to become like this will be the victim of the other people's wickedness. Meaning the liar will end up being lied to. Yes? Pasuk chet. Continuation also. הפכפך דרך איש וזר. A person that is הפכפך, מתהפך. He flips all the time. Yes? And strange. וזך ישר פעולו. But the pure, his actions are straight. Says the Gaon, because the person doesn't have a conscience, doesn't have a shofet, doesn't have justice in his head, and he allowed himself to lie, that behavior now has a direct impact in tainting and staining and influencing his midot. To the point that now his behavior becomes bad. And now only what is straight in his own eyes, what is beneficial in his own eyes, is what matters. So because the person doesn't have conscience and honesty, right? Slowly he starts. He wants the shortcut. He fools people. He steals from people. It's only money. It's only money. It's only an opportunity. I'm still a good guy. No. Shlomo HaMelech, that is a slippery rope that will lead to a contamination of the midot, yes, and eventually will lead the person to only see his own benefit and only do what he thinks is right for himself. So he is now the person is completely detached from everything that's around him. All this why? Because he doesn't have shofet, he doesn't have a judge in his head, he doesn't have mishpat, he doesn't have justice, honesty. And not only that, that's not, and so he's all hafachvach, right? He doesn't what he wants. Vezar. And he becomes a stranger to himself. Meaning he's no longer, he doesn't know who he is anymore. Yes? He is so twisted and he impersonalized a new behavior so much that he becomes a stranger, a complete stranger. Another shot is that what? That he causes people to become strangers. What are strangers? Says the Gaon, people, yes, that their midot became so bad because of that behavior that all they care about now is envy. So they become consumed by envy. And when a person envy, he doesn't see the other person as somebody close. He sees him as a stranger. And he has no problem hurting him because of his envy. So suddenly everybody becomes a zar, everybody becomes a stranger. This happens, it can happen between two brothers. Okay? When there's no justice and there's no morality, yes, you see in history that, and then suddenly the families they clash and they hate each other and they fight each other. Okay? And mamash like they're fighting a stranger. Says the Gaon, that is the outcome of the development of envy that grew into a person because of the deterioration of his midot that came because he didn't have the proper honesty and integrity to stop himself from hurting people financially. Very deep. Like we have the whole thought process. Yes. It's also coming to tell us that if you have a shakran that steals, if somebody is uses his sheker and his manipulation to steal, don't expect him to have any rachmanut, because he's going to see everybody as strangers. Okay? And if you see somebody that's close to you that behaves to you like a stranger, it's because he's not an honest person that led to that behavior. Good? One more pasuk. That's Mevin Yavin. טוב. Says Shlomo HaMelech, Tov לשבת על פינת גג, you're better off sitting in the corner of a gag, of a roof, me'eshet midyanim, than being with a woman that always fights. Ubet chaver, and to sit in a home of chibur, where you have a lot of people gathering. the Gaon says like this. The pinat gag, to sit on top of at the corner of a roof is a very dangerous place. You're not sitting in the middle of the roof. You're sitting at the corner of the roof. Okay, which essentially means what? At any point you can fall. Yes, you don't have stability there. You don't. Yes, you're in a very intense location. You have to be in full control and balance and awareness. Yes, you fall asleep 2 seconds, finish. You can fall. Yes, says Shlomo HaMelech, being in that environment on your own, meaning when you're in control, is better and safer me'eshet midyanim, to be living with a woman that always fights and only creates machloket and only complains. The Malbim explains why. Because that woman will end up alienating you from everybody else and create machloket with everybody around you. So to the point that you don't even have a makom for yourself anymore. That's how the Malbim explains it. And that's the pshat of Eshet Midyanim. It's a woman that takes away from you your own makom. You don't have any makom. No more relationships, no more friendships, no more partnerships, nothing. So you're better off being alone and in control in such a risky place than to be with a person like this. Ubet Haver, says the Gaon, in a place where you have a lot of people that hear everything you say. Because you fuel them with information that they will end up using against you. You triggering them ayin hara, envy, jealousy, no privacy. So too, says the Gaon, this applies to the Torah. You're better off learning alone than teaching Eshet Medyanim. It's a person that all he learns basically to fight, to argue, to reject, to question. And it's very difficult to learn with a person like this. Yes? Because every time you want to learn, instead of absorbing and opening his mind, all he does is taking information to use it against you, against the. So too, Ubet Chavoer, in a makom that people are in a public place. When you're in a public place and there's very turbulent and there's not yeshuv da'at, you cannot learn. So you're better off being alone and learn than being in a place where distraction is too big.
It goes for everything, no? Everything,
Yeah,
every aspect of life, every aspect of life. If you're in a noisy room,
yes.
in the mashal, like hypothetically, it's distracting. It's not going to allow you to progress.
Work, to focus, yeah, but for sure.
Home,
And it applies
work,
also
friends,
to a
learning.
business partner. If you're or it's not only the wife. Yes, if you're in bed where your partner with somebody that all he does is fight, always fight, always complains, you're better off on your own. Meaning, Shlomo HaMelech is coming to say that the machloket, the fighting, takes away the bracha of the makom. You have no more makom. Makom is the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I've told you this many times, right? The gematria of Yud Ke Vav Ke, Yud Tamz Yud, He Tamz He, Vav Tamz He, He Tamz He, gematria makom. There's no Ashrata Shekhinah. When there's a woman that all she does is fight and complain and pushes and as Ain Tzara and they cannot reside the Shekhinah. The makom is not there. When you're in machloket with a partner and all he does is fight and argues and fight, Vadaida, if it's an argument for the toilet of the business, we don't talk about it, yes? But if the person is just a person that fights, so there cannot be beracha. There cannot be beracha. And the same thing, if you're in an environment that is very disturbing and very loud or very distracting, you cannot relate. You cannot focus in producing. Okay, you cannot connect to the bracha of that makom neither. So that pasuk is coming to address what takes away the beracha from the makom, the machloket and distraction. כן? חשוב מאוד. חשוב מאוד. The definition of makom, right? The sur mera of makom is machloket and distraction. Yeah, one more pasuk bli neder and nefesh rasha ivetara. The nefesh, right? The desire of the rasha is to do bad. Lo yuhan be'enav re'ehu, right? And he will not find the re'ehu, his friend, will not find favor in his eyes. Says the Gaon, the rasha is motivated as the ta'ava to do bad, and because his ta'ava is to do bad, he can only see bad in others. All he sees is the bad in others. And he wants to see others fail. Because that's what he lives. That's what's within him. To the point that even Re'ehu, even his friend, even his beloved one, is going to end up looking in a bad way and being happy to see fail. The Rav Wolbe explains what is nefesh rasha? What is nefesh rasha? It's somebody that cultivates a nekuda ra'ah, one bad trait that he lets sit and soak in and become part of his essence and his nature. He's not rasha overall, but he has one midah, one nekuda, one thing that he allows himself to be bad. That he's okay with it, to be bad. It could be lashon hara, it could be to be kamsan, it could be to be ain sara, it could be to be jealous. But he has one midah, that one nekuda that he doesn't deal with, that consumes him, that is part of his essence. Through the lens of that midah, he will enjoy the failure and destruction of anybody around him, including his beloved ones.
Why Shlomo Melech using such a general word, nefesh, for something so
because that's
particular?
the point. Because when it becomes part of your nefesh, when it's part of you, when it becomes instinctive, it's a chelek of who you are. The Gaon in Even Shlomo writes, Even Shlema, that nekuda comes usually when there's an etiyah, when there is an inclination, an instinct that pushes a person, right? To constantly do bad in a certain way, in a certain midah, says the Gaon, it's a siman that the person came as a gilgul to do the tikkun of that specific midah. That's what the Gaon says. Now, sometimes the person doesn't have that, but he developed a second nature. Because of his behavior, by repeating again and again something that bad behavior, he creates inside of him a second nature to behave like this. So the person has to find out, is the problem a second nature, and then I have to break it, and knowing that this is not who I am, or is it a mamash, a tikkun that needs to be done? And says the Gaon, that's why the person came to this world. Yes, to the point. That's to the excess that the person behaves in this way and has no problem seeing his beloved ones suffer and pain and hurting them. Again, that doesn't mean he's a rasha completely. It's a nekuda, it's a behavior, one specific behavior that leads to that. To this trait and this specific way of behaving, right? And through those lenses, yes, all he wants is to do bad and see others fail, others hurt. Even his re'ehu, his beloved one, end up becoming strangers. Yeah, Tov. We're going to hold here. We finished Pasuk Yud. Ezrat Hashem.